I'm Chris Bitharis, a junior on the men's soccer team. I would like to thank all of our current PEF members for your support of the Bears Club. Your contributions have made it possible for me and other student athletes here at Lenoir-Rhyne to fulfill our dreams of participating in intercollegiate athletics. If you are not currently a Bears Club member, I hope you will take this opportunity to join our team today. Thanks again for your support, and go Bears!
Well, thank you, John. Just a few things to start. One, it was a disappointing effort. It was a disappointing loss. It all hurts, but the last three losses have been frustrating. And you got a team that cares a lot, and you got a team that cares a great deal about each other. And this last loss was more than disappointing. Not necessarily for how the scoreboard ended up being as lopsided as it did, but more so just for our overall execution, lack thereof, and effort, which had fallen short. That had not been an issue all season. There had been other issues all season, and that was the first time I thought where we didn't play harder to our capabilities, and that's an indictment on our coaches and our internal leadership, and we need to make great strides here going forward in the last 2 weeks of the season. But we showed our youth, we showed our inexperience, and frankly, when you turn the ball over, as we did offensively, you have zero chance to win. Going into that performance, we'd only turned the ball over on offense 7 times the entire season, which was one of the better marks in the country. When you look to last Saturday, when you turn the ball over 4 times, two are for touchdowns, you have no chance, and it puts our defense in an awful position, and we've been struggling defensively for the majority of the season. So it was a perfect recipe for disaster, and not only did that happen, but I was disappointed with our mental resolve overall. We need to aspire to be much better than that. So there's lessons to be learned. Certainly, we must grow from these experiences and move forward in a positive manner. But we're all accountable. We talk about, and it starts with me as the head coach, and the buck stops here as it does in any organization. As the head coach, you're the CEO of the organization, and so that's the product that team, whether it was last year or whether it's this last week, is ultimately, as a coach, the team is a mirror of the coach, and we're responsible. As a position coach, that team, those players are a mirror of the coach, and that's the reality that's staring us in the face right now, and we don't like what we see. So the only thing we do is resolve ourselves to work hard, plan accordingly, and win the next football game. We talk about around here. We talk about waddling. We talk about winning all day long. That doesn't just include when the scoreboard lights are on. We do have a great group of young men. We do have guys that are doing a great job in the classroom, in the community. We have guys that care a great deal about this program and this institution, and that gives us a great chance going forward, because we have a great group of young men in our locker room. What we're lacking is right now we have 12 great seniors that we're sending off this coming Saturday. Where they've needed help is in the leadership department, and leadership isn't a key ingredient. It's the key ingredient. No successful organization can do well without positive internal leadership, and that's where this young football team has fallen a bit short. The truth of the matter is 30 days ago we were 4-1 and beat a good team in Carson Newman by 30+ points. There's young talent here. There's good players here. There's a good plan in place. We just have to set our feet in the ground, work hard, and resolve ourselves to get the problems fixed. There are problems. They're not going to get all solved in the next 2 weeks. They're going to get solved going forward. Some will get solved. I had a meeting on Sunday with our seniors. It's a great group of young men, real positive conversations, and they're excited to finish their careers here between the bricks, then obviously in their last game at Catawba the following week. But they're excited about finishing this season strong. We owe that to them, and it's a special group of young men that have accomplished a great deal here. So there's a lot to play for, realizing we're not this year playing for a conference championship, realizing this one we're not going to put a ring on our finger. But frankly, we're playing for our pride. We're playing for the pride of for every young man in that locker room, playing for the pride within their position groups, playing for our pride of the program. And they're playing because they love to play football, and they're young men between 18 and 22 years old. They're going to give it everything they have these last 2 weeks. So we're excited about that because pride means a great deal more, quite frankly, than the other things. And that's all we need right now, and quite frankly, that's all we have. And all we have is us. And there can be the people that, there's always going to be the people on the fence or the doubters and cynics out there, and we get that. That comes with the territory. But frankly, none of it matters other than the guys in that locker room and the people that truly care about these young men. So if we truly do care about these young men in this program, then we look forward to looking out there Saturday outside the bricks and seeing support for a great senior class that's accomplished a great deal, and a bunch of young football players that are going to get better and look forward to improving. Looking at Brevard, okay, obviously it's like looking in a mirror in some ways with the fact that they run a very similar offense. There's not much either team looking across will recognize some of the plays being ran at each other. Coach Hamilton's been doing it a long time. Has obviously a great knowledge with his background of the option game, and there won't be many secrets out there on the field. Obviously, they've had their struggles this year, as have we recently. So, like I said, it's more about us internally, frankly, and solving our issues than any outside opponent in the next 2 weeks. We need to improve and look, like I said, look in the mirror and make some giant steps going forward. With that, I'll take any questions, either reflecting back or certainly looking forward here into the future.
Coach, since those 30 days since you defeated Carson Newman, what has really been attempted to be changed from a coaching standpoint during these tough losses? You talk about the responsibility on your shoulders and your coaching staff. What really are some specifics that you guys have attempted to change in your locker room?
Well, you start with some of those changes. You look at, we've had some personnel issues, obviously, so we had to change some there due to just injuries. We've had some schematic issues where, due to some of those injuries, we're having to move guys to a certain position, and both offensively and defensively, and that's certainly been challenging. And then, certainly the leadership and the internal leadership is evolving. And our coaches, our hands are on these guys every day, and there's a plan in place regarding that, but it doesn't just happen overnight. There was the group, the senior class a year ago, which was more than 20 strong, was a group of extraordinary leaders, and not we're all extraordinary players. We lost some key leaders on the team from a year ago. The guys behind the scenes that, quite frankly, aren't in that locker room right now, or they haven't emerged yet. They're not comfortable yet as young sophomores and maybe possibly even juniors, or certainly freshmen. So there has been a slight void there, and that's a challenge, and it's ongoing. And I think we have some great young players that care and will be great leaders. And there's some guys that need to get out of their comfort zone and get comfortable being uncomfortable as a positive leader for our football team.
You've talked about the importance of these remaining games for the senior class. This is your second season, but what's your impression of the impact the senior class can leave and the legacy they've had during their 4 years here?
Well, I mean, you can look at what's been accomplished in their last 4 years on paper. Now, not all of them been here for 4 years, So and some of them have been key contributors, and some have been backups for most of their careers, So it just depends on who you're looking at. But as a collective class, they've been part of a very special time here in the history of Lenoir-Rhyne football, and that's something to be proud of. And it would be especially gratifying for them because right now everyone's writing the Bears off. People believe we lost 3 games in a row. I'm not sure the sky has completely fallen, but everyone maybe thinks it has. And for these young men to come up and rise up and finish on a winning note, I think would send them off feeling good about what they accomplished when their backs were against the wall, and also lead this program forward into the off season with a lot of positive, with some optimism going forward. with a couple wins.
Coach, you talked about 30 days ago, a lot of optimism, good things going
Sure.
on in the program. Can you identify any one thing, or is it a collection of things that's happened to kind of send you onto this spiral? And how much does the Wingate loss impact what's happened the last couple of weeks?
Well, I do think it's as high as we were after that loss. I think we haven't been playing consistently good enough football to win games as a team. And it's a team game ultimately. And we've played good football most of the year. We played excellent football offensively. We were leading the conference going last week in scoring offense and leading the nation in rushing offense. And we'd only turned the ball over 7 times all season. So that part, like I said, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. That part's been solid. We've been good most of the year in the kicking game. Certainly, we gave up a big return at the Mars Hill game, but for most of the year, we've been solid in the kicking game. Where we've struggled, frankly, is defensively. You can just look at the numbers, and it speaks to that. And you can't win consistently without playing great defense, and you certainly can't win championships without playing great defense. So some of those are personnel issues, and some of those we're going to have to take a look in the mirror and get fixed. But the day against Carson when we played great defense. If you look back, that was the best we played all season defensively, and that's something that's within us. But certainly there's much work to be done, and there's improvements to be made.
You went back and forth between Evan Sims and Tyler Williams at quarterback this past week. I assume the plan is to stick with Evan this upcoming season.
Certainly. Evan's our starter. Evan did not play. Evan's had a wonderful season, but he played poorly last Saturday, and he wasn't the Lone Ranger. But it certainly sticks out like his sore thumb when we're dribbling the ball all over and pitching it to the other team. So, that he's the starting quarterback, but when you turn the ball over like that, then the other guy's gonna get a chance. Unfortunately, Tyler got in there and he breaks off an 18-yard run and he fumbles his first time. He gets hit and gives it up. It's a different type of turnover. It's still a turnover. So when we went back and forth trying to get the formula right, and like I said, they weren't the only two that weren't playing to their capability. But unless you play well at the quarterback position, it's impossible to play good offensive football, particularly in our system. So any hope that we had as a team was extinguished by our poor quarterback play last Saturday. You just you can't get it off the ground. You can't play.
The defensive woes were, of course, in part to you missing a few key players, Chris Green, Lendry Sparrow. What's their status?
They're doubtful going forward. They're hurt, and those two of your better defensive linemen, so that's going to affect your run defense, your pass defense, and all that comes with it. So that's football. It's a game of attrition. No one's going to feel sorry for us. There's no excuses to be made. We're all accountable. There's other guys behind them that are signed up to play college football, and we need to do a better job. We need to tackle better. We have guys coming clean. We had 4 or 5 times our linebackers come clean on blitzes, and we can't tackle the quarterback. Like no one's blocking them, but we can't get them down. And our quarterback, to his credit, made a bunch of good plays. We're in good coverage most of the day in the secondary, but we don't get much of a pass rush to help our secondary out. And then there's a couple times we're in coverage and their receivers jump up and make great plays, or they just drop it in. Our defender can't play the ball or can't play the man well enough to make the ball a non-issue. So we were in better coverage than we had been in say reflecting back to the Wingate game, or the Mars Hill game certainly. So there's some subtle strides made that don't meet the eye that are positive, but by and large, it's not good enough. We can't get them off the field, and then certainly offensively, we can't get the other offense. We can't fumble inside our own territory and give them short field. We need to win the field position battle, which we couldn't win, and it was uphill all day. And to Newberry's credit, that's a veteran squad. They don't have youth and immaturity. They have 8 seniors starting on both sides of the ball that have been through the wars of the South Atlantic Conference, and we have a lot of guys that haven't.
Playing off the injury situation, I guess Dell Howard, Jacob Sutherland both went out during the game. Do you expect them back this week?
They're possible to be back. It certainly didn't help us getting our starting center knocked out of the game. That affected us. How could it not? He's a potential all-conference player up front. And then Jacob Sutherland went out as well. And that, anytime you lose 2 starters, then it's going to, compromise you in some way. Like I said, we have other guys that are capable. And like I said, we're hopeful to get both back, but I'm assuming we won't know more until probably, Thursday this week.
During the ball game on the sideline, saw some things this week that we haven't seen in previous loss. Personally, I did. A lot of heads hanging, a lot of discouraged players. As coaches, how do you guys work to try to rebuild some confidence heading into these last couple of weeks?
Well, it was discouraging. I've never been quite a part of a performance or associated with anything like that in my life as a competitor. And I know these young men hadn't. So to be where we were at was a shock to our system. There was adversity there. There was, as soon as the avalanche hit or the tidal wave of the turnovers and we just couldn't find a way to get any momentum going positively. And then it almost became a self-fulfilling prophecy that the next bad thing that was going to happen was going to be bad too. And we just don't have the experience or the young men that at that time no one could step up and make that difference and get us over the hump. There were some great voices on the sideline and guys trying, but it's when it gets like that, it's a real challenge to a youthful and inexperienced team, and then that's what we're facing, and it has to happen internally. Certainly, as coaches, we try to help it along, but it has to be the leadership amongst the guys. They have to care enough and have the voice right enough, and have a belief system strong enough, frankly, to carry you through the tough times. Well, I certainly thank everyone for their support here today. No one can accuse anyone in the room of being a fair weather fan. We look forward to our next contest. We look forward to Senior Day, to celebrate this senior class, being back between the bricks for one more time. We're excited to play a football game because our guys love to play. There's a lot on the line for these seniors, and for our personal pride. And like I said, we look forward to competing against Brevard this Saturday and getting that taste of winning back in our mouth, frankly. Appreciate everyone's support. Go Bears.